Hello, everybody. We are 20 seconds in today's broadcast. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. I think that rhymed. Correct me in the comments below, but I think that rhymed. Thank you so much. Bless you. I'll wait for a few of you to jump on here for a moment. You can't go wrong with some Vatra. Hope you guys have had a good day, a good productive day on this Monday, 17th of May, 2021. Thank you for being with me. Hello, Patrick Sampa. Paxiner is watching us from Germany, Deutschland. Unbelievable. Please tell me where you are watching this broadcast from, wherever you may be. Martin says, I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm also shocked. Somebody's watching us from Greenland. Or they say Greenland. I think you say Greenland. Do you not say Greenland? Or do you say Greenland? Please tell me in the comments below. That's who said that? Who said that about Greenland? Han Dinde. Han Dinde said they're watching us from Greenland. Andrew Kamanga, loud and clear, SML. Those are the words I love to hear. Wait a minute, that rhymed. Loud and clear, everyone. Those are the words I love to hear. Those are bars, y'all. I'm in the wrong profession. I should be in a music studio somewhere, dropping some serious bars. Listen, I can throw down. You guys just don't know it yet. All right. Well, hey, listen, thank you. Thank you to all of you, and I'm glad we're loud and clear. Just want to take a few moments today, talk about a few things that have made the news, and of course, I'd like to throw in my opinion and sort of give you my vantage point as far as three main things are concerned. I'd like to throw a bit of history at you for a moment. Does this date, March the 30th, 1981 in Washington, D.C., over there in the United States, does this date ring a bell? Does this mean anything to you? Well, this was the day that a young man by the name of John Hinckley Jr. shot and attempted to kill President Ronald Reagan, who was serving then as the president of the United States. He tried to kill Ronald Reagan in an attempt, a foiled attempt nonetheless, in an attempt to impress a young actress. She was young then, she's not so now, by the name of Jodie Foster. Many of you remember this. I mean, I remember 1981. I remember the news that Ronald Reagan had been shot. In fact, the preliminary news was that he had been shot and killed. In those days, it wasn't like now. Everything now happens in real time. In those days, we didn't have labor-saving devices like cell phones. We didn't have tablets. Our news was purely from what we saw on television, CNN, and other corporations, ZNBC, and so on. But when the first, I need to get rid of this cable. When the first pieces of information started trickling down, initially, we were under the impression that Ronald Reagan had been shot and killed. Well, he had been wounded, and the Reagan administration were running around frantically, as they should have, trying to make sense of this sudden reality. And one of the challenges they had when Ronald Reagan was shot and then subsequently taken into surgery, one of the biggest challenges they had was when he transferred power to George Bush Sr. For those of you who remember history, George Bush Sr., not George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush was the first Bush who served as president. He was, at the time, he was vice president to Ronald Reagan. When Ronald Reagan went into surgery, and it wasn't clear if he was going to sit up from that operating table. It wasn't clear. Nobody really knew. Is he going to die? Is he going to make it? Well, he signed a document that transferred his presidential powers over to George Herbert Walker Bush, George Bush Sr. Now, people don't realize that when George Bush Sr., who was acting in those days, he was the vice president, George Bush Sr. was very reluctant to receive the instruments of power, only when he was absolutely certain that this is where the country was and this is the direction the country was going to take, that this is the decision collectively that the administration had made. As vice president of the United States, one of the most powerful nations on the face of the earth, George Bush was reluctant to receive the instruments of power because he wanted to make absolutely certain that constitutionally they had dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. He wasn't in a hurry to grab the instruments of power. George H. Bush was the first acting president in the history of the United States. And he did it while walking very slowly. He wasn't in a hurry. He never sat there and thinking, oh, wonderful. President Reagan is about to die and I'm going to be the next president of this great nation. Oh, no. There was nothing like that. There was no celebratory mood. The sense of service, the sense of country first, was what was first and foremost on George Herbert Walker Bush's mind. It was not, twali again, kateka nafwa, nineba sala, nine president nomba, nekeri nomba twala chitalilix, twala lila, chala lila lelo, chala lila, bantu kateka nafwa, kateka Reagan a la foi, and I am going to be the next president of the United States. Brothers and sisters, there was nothing like that. Country first, Constitution, love of your nation. How many presidents do you know? No, let me break it down for you. How many African presidents do you know? I'm just going to be real with you. That would find themselves in a similar situation and be reluctant to grab the instruments of power. Very few. Very few. And this, it brings me now to the issue of how to select a vice president. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just a citizen with a voter's card. I want that to sink in. I'm just a citizen with a voter's card, and so my voice matters. So here's the thing. I said all of that to say this. It's very important for a president to be careful on who he or she selects as his vice. One of the worst things you could ever do as a president is select a vice president who is so consumed with ambition that they overlook their duty and their position as vice president. Ooh, oh, that's good. That's good. You don't want a vice president that is just waiting in the wings. You don't want a vice president that is chomping at the bit. You don't want a vice president that looks at you and thinks, when are you going to die so that I become what you are? And so this is one of the toughest jobs that a president has. One of the toughest decisions that a sitting president has to make. Who do I select as running mate? And if listen, it's not like you walk into a restaurant at Nando's or Debonair's and look at the menu and think, oh, let's see here. All right, I think I'll have it without cheese. No. I think add the cheese, hold the anchovies, and don't put any onions. It is an up at dawn, grueling process to sit and select your running mate, especially in this dispensation. Some of you, there are many of you that have become accustomed to this new way of doing government. I grew up in a time during Vakaunda's era. We knew Grey Zulu. We only knew the one name. There were many other people, but we knew about Grey Zulu. When democracy finally came to our shores, notwithstanding that Zambia is a landlocked country, let's keep that in mind. I'm just saying that as a metaphor, okay? When democracy finally darkened the doorstep of this nation, there you go, let's put it that way. Vachiluva. Oh, he was in the habit of firing vice presidents. In fact, in those days, whenever you were appointed as a vice president, the moment you were appointed, the whole nation was counting down to your disappointment. That's how it was in those days. I've told you the famous story of Godfrey Mwewa, whom I know and I love dearly. I think he's a wonderful man, wonderful family. And this is a story that he often says. He often tells this story. Vachiluva fired multiple people that served as vice president under his administration. But one of the most famous firings was when he had sent Godfrey Mwewa, and Godfrey Mwewa himself tells this story. He's told it a multiplicity of multitudinous tens of times. In fact, I heard him tell this story. Vachiluva had sent Godfrey Mwewa, who was serving as vice president at the time, sent him to chair a meeting at the Pamodzi Hotel. And the whole time that he was addressing these ministers at the Pamodzi Hotel, everyone that was in attendance, everyone that sat in that meeting knew that Mwewa had been fired except him. Everyone he was talking to knew that the man standing in front of us thinks he's still the vice president, but he doesn't know. Unbeknownst to him, Vachiluva has announced that Godfrey Mwewa is no longer the vice president of Zambia. Everyone in that room knew it except him. At the conclusion of the meeting, Mwewa noticed that his aides were not with him. And one by one, the ministers began to disappear. Because, in those days, the way it was if the president fires you, you should not be seen with that person. All of a sudden, that person becomes a leper. That person becomes persona non grata. That person becomes a reject. That person becomes anathema to your circle and your political community. And so Wamianda walks out of he's walking through the lobby, and he's confused. He's thinking, what is going on? Where are my aides? Where are my drivers? What is the deal? So he steps out of the front door of the Pamodzi Hotel. His motorcade, the vice presidential motorcade, is not there. And he is perplexed. Thankfully, one of the ministers walks up to him, very kindly whispers in his ear, Wamianda, do you know what's happening? And Wamianda looked at this minister and he said, please explain this to me. What's going on? And the minister looked at Wamianda and said, sir, you've been fired. Everyone knew except for Godfrey. Bless that minister, because that's the minister that arranged for transportation for Godfrey Mianda to leave Pamodzi Hotel and go to where he was supposed to be. I gave you that story to demonstrate to you that we have as a country, we've come from a system where the president at the drop of a hat, at a fleeting glance, in those days, Wachilwa could literally fire you for nothing. He can just say, you know what, I don't like the way you looked at me. Well, it's come to my attention that you don't really support what I do, so you know what? I'm going to fire you. And the Constitution was very different then. The president could do whatever the heck he wanted. But now, under this new dispensation, we have a new Constitution that provides a running mate, that gives a president a permanent running mate. And I tell you, when I first heard this, I sighed a sigh of relief. I thought, thank goodness, thank God. Who wants the pressure? Who wants the aggravation of being appointed a vice president, and any day now you could be fired? And it was a tradition. It was an unwritten rule. But Chiluba had the habit of firing you unceremoniously. And he passed it down to Mwewa. You know, he passed that down to the president that came after him. This idea that you just fire someone unceremoniously, you know, embarrass them. But thank God we're living in a different dispensation. We're living in a new dispensation. A dispensation that says, under the new Constitution, a president has a running mate. And this is the reason it is very important to not just arbitrarily select a running mate. Ooh, boy, I tell you what, you have to do some serious homework. You have to do some serious vetting. You know the word vetting? You have to scrutinize with a microscope to the point where you see every minute molecule before you make a decision. Is this the right person for me? If, God forbid, if something were to happen to me, is this person capable of carrying the baton of leadership and sustaining this nation? These are the questions that a president has to grapple with. No questions. Am I going to have cheese or no cheese? No, no, no. These people that call themselves presidents, these public officials that we send to State House, they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. Who will be my running mate? And have I made the right decision? Today, President President Lungu unveiled, and he told us who he has selected as vice president. Now, guys, here's the thing about politics. You know, Abraham Lincoln once famously said that you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. In the same vein, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. And President Lungu today said, excuse me, if you don't like my choice, wait your turn. But for now, it is Lungu and Luo. You know what the president was saying? He was basically saying, you know what? This is my decision, and you're just going to have to grin and bear it. If you don't like it, you're just going to have to grin and bear it. You need to go to the closet and seek the face of God and ask God to give you comfort in the fact that this is the decision I have made. Live with it. And that's his prerogative. Remember that old song by Bobby Brown? It's my prerogative. And it's the president's prerogative. It's his choice. It's his decision. All we can do is fall in line and say, Mr. President, that's who you've chosen. We're going to, listen, if you subscribe to that, all you do is say, Mr. President, we rally behind you. There must be a good reason you've chosen her. And so we trust your judgment, and we're going to go with what you're saying. You lead the way, we follow. End of story. Now, if you waste your time screaming and whooping and hollering about, oh, well, that's not who I want, well, you're going to be waiting a long time. You're going to be twiddling your thumbs. You're going to be tiptoeing through the tulips. You're going to be grasping at straws. You are going to be shooting in the dark for a long time. All you need to do is fall in line, accept his decision, and move on. Period. All right. The last thing I wanted to talk about, actually, there are two things. The last two things, and I'm going to be very quick, is I'm very concerned about the adoption process because it has come to my attention that truly there is a problem in the way the adoption process is being conducted on all fronts, whether it's the ruling party or the opposition. There is an element, there is a malignant habit that has emerged that threatens to destroy the fabric of our adoption process as a nation, as a whole, whether you're ruling or opposition. It is no longer about service. It's no longer about who is the best man for the job, who's the best woman for the job. Everything is tethered with corruption. Everything is tethered with how much can you give me to make sure that your adoption goes through. Now let me tell you what's happening. We all know this. It's just that we don't talk about it. And I think it's really sad. What the guys are doing, what the men are going through is that the men are being coerced to what given Luvinda termed as, he called it something. He said, give me a moment. He said something. Oh, I forget what he called it now. Tell me in the comments below if you remember something about something like influence peddling. That's right. That's what he called it. Influence peddling, where you use money, monetary substance to get your way. Folks, that is not how people are elected. That is not how it's done. It's not about how much money you can bring to the table as a potential candidate, a potential parliamentary or a counselor. It's not about the connections. It's not about how much money you can bribe the decision makers. Because if you hold fast to that system, ultimately that system is going to bite us in the royal tush, in the royal behind. We are living now in an era where Bwana, it's get while the getting's good. Forget about principle. Forget about who the best man or who the best woman for the job is. It's all about who can bring the most money so that we can put them in that position and hopefully they'll wing it. Ichabod, that's so sad. And I'm going to tell you something else. That's what the guys are dealing with. The women in politics. These young girls that are putting their names forward to serve this nation, do you have any idea what they're going through? What they have to endure just to be adopted? I'm going to spell it out for you. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm not going to say it in unclear or uncertain terms. I'm going to lay it on the line for you. These young women that want to serve, especially the young ones. The older ones are a bit different. If you're an older woman, you can at least be excused, if not condoned. But if you're a young lass, a young girl full of vision, full of energy, full of a desire to serve your nation, do you have any idea what the powers that be want to do to you just for you to be adopted? We're hearing the most horrible, the most repugnant, the most repudiating, the most asinine stories that you could ever come across. Young women are being told, you want the position, you know what you need to do. You just name the place and the time. If you want to be adopted, you're going to have to open your legs. I know that sounds crude. I know it sounds brash. I know it sounds uncouth. I know it sounds unenlightened, but that's the truth. The horror that we're subjecting young female aspirants, political aspirants. Now, of course, that's not to say that some women aren't offering that. I mean, people are people. Doesn't matter where they are. There are women out there in the world that do that and gladly do that. But then there are other women that they don't want to fall under that category. All they want to do is serve. Basically, the adoption process in this country is flawed. It is an absolute mess. And I don't know where we're going. That it's all about money. It's all about, and if you're a woman, if you're pretty, if you're cute, nanshui white it did it. The only time that you are exempt is if you are unattractive, nobody looks at you. But oh, honey, if you look any kind of way that resembles beauty, glamour, you're in trouble. Sooner or later, someone's going to come to you and say, you do know what you need to do, don't you? And that's sad. That has to change. We need to stop talking about this, and we need to start doing something about it. Thirdly and lastly, we're now entering a season where political regalia, political campaign material is being vandalized. I blame Electoral Commission of Zambia. The police need to be on their toes. If you look away simply because it's the opposition that's bearing the brunt of vandalism, and you only pay attention when it's someone else, then you're not doing the right thing. You're not a patriot. You don't love this nation. Don't look away. Deal with it. The police and ECZ need to come down like a ton of bricks to deal with anyone that vandalizes any campaign material, regardless of who it belongs to. Come on, guys. Come on. Goodness. All right. That's what I wanted to tell you. Listen to this. I don't mean to laugh. They're saying, Irene says, no woman is unattractive to those silly men's eyes. Banda. The professor is old. We need someone with fresh thinking. Well, you know what they say, with age comes experience. Don't negate that. All right, here it is. I'd love, please call me. Don't WhatsApp me, okay? Call me on that number. Tell me what you think. Please don't WhatsApp me. Don't call me via WhatsApp. Just call directly. Tell me what you think. What do you think about Eagle One's choice of vice president? What's your opinion? What's your view? Call me and let me know. Give me a call. And I find this this comment so interesting. No woman is unattractive. That's an interesting comment. So yeah, just call me on that number. It's almost 6. It's after 6. Typically I leave in about 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to go. But I'd love to hear from you. If you can, call me. Give me a call on that number. Okay? Hope is watching us from Long Island. Thank you, Hope. Appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. Somebody says, spit it out. It's really sad. It is. Kasonka says, young women, are you there? It's really sad that if you're a young, pretty, attractive young girl and you want to serve, you want to put your foot, throw your hat into the political ring, that you have to deal with that nonsense. It happens everywhere. It happens in the corporate world. It happens everywhere. But when it happens in the political arena to someone that simply wants to serve, and again, let's not be under any illusion. There are women out there that are willing to, sorry to sound so crude, but they're willing to give it up for anything. There are women like that. But then there's another group of women that truly genuinely want to serve. And they have to deal with that. They have to face that. And it's really sad. It really is. Guys, are you going to call me? Oh, goodness, I hope this thing is open. I hope you can call me. I hope my settings are right. If my settings are not, just a moment. It is connected. Okay, so give me a call. Tell me what you think. Let me read a couple of more of your comments here. Okay, here's a comment. Ben Peary says, you judge a leader by who you need to call me on this number, the number that I've put up here. Don't call me on the other number. This is the number you need to call me on, not the other one. Call me on. And guys, I must tell you, I'm using my phone as a webcam. I've got cameras, but I don't know how to use them. That's so sad. All right, here we go. There you go. Hello? Are you there? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, we can't get through. All right. So give me a call if you can and give me your opinion. Tell me what you think. Don't call me on that number. Call me on this number. Call me only on this number, the one that's on the screen. I'm going to leave you with a quote. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Mwewa.
Hey there.
Hey, I would love to make the contribution on the topic.
Please go ahead. Who am I speaking with?
This is Mr. Kizito calling you around Lusaka.
Yes, Bakizito, go ahead.
Yeah, so the choice by Mr. The Mwewa, as you said, I don't think it's a good one.
Okay, tell me
quite
why.
Right, I don't think it's a good one.
Okay.
Quite all right, we need a woman in the office. Mm-hmm. But then at least we need a fresh blood. We are from having Miss Winner. At least we needed someone who is young. And I'm a CBU student, so I don't think I can be involved for the party right now because she took new allowances from us. So I don't think that was the right decision by Mwewa.
Okay, that's an interesting viewpoint.
Yeah.
Thank you, son.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Okay, that's a former CBU student. And that's his opinion, and he holds fast to that. Please call me on that number. Hello? Hello? Okay. Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking with?
This is Jackson from Kabwe.
Jackson Kukabwe.
Yes, Uncle Mwewa.
Please go ahead. You are loud and clear.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about a few things about our new running mate for our president. Mm-hmm. I think it's important that we as Zambians also respect the decision of our president because he's just an individual and then he has his own decisions to make and we need to respect that. So for someone to make a decision, then we need to know that there is wisdom behind that decision as well. So whether that decision is not okay, if it's bad, let the results themselves also show that, okay, the decision was not okay. But to just criticize the decision now, as we Zambian people, I think it's not polite. So we need to see if the decision works in our president's favor. That's also okay. I think not everyone would like to have the new running mate, but we need to respect that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Bless you. So he says, that's what Jackson from Kukabwe, he says, we need to respect the decision of the president. And he also made reference to the fact that the president didn't decide at the drop of a hat. Hello? Guys, can you hear me? I don't know what's going on with that phone. Okay. Hey there. Hello? Hello? All right. Okay, that call dropped. We are the ones with voters cards, though. We are the ones with voters cards, though. Yeah. That's a good one. Hello? Listen to this comment. There's no way, Mwewa. Apapena. No. Someone says. Yes. Lungu and Luo. Hello. Are you there?
Hello.
Are you there?
Hello.
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, boss, I can hear you.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Boss, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead. Okay. That's not working. All right, guys. I still need to suss this thing out. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you for participating. Try one more time. Hey, guys. Hello? Hey, guys. Is anyone there? Okay, let me read a couple of your comments here. Somebody says, what's up with the green tie? Well, the thing about ties is that they come in multiple colors. Sometimes they come in green, red, blue, yellow, pink. I just grabbed the first one. Hello? Hello? Okay, we're going to be here all night doing this. Obviously, there's something I'm doing wrong. So to answer the question on the tie, I just picked it up. I just grabbed it. It was the first tie on the rack. I just grabbed it. Guys, thank you for listening. God bless you. Peace.